I guess the line that most people associate with Blair was when she would say, I just had another one of my brilliant ideas.
I just had another one of my brilliant ideas.
How would I describe Blair Warner? She's changed a lot over the 9 years. Originally, when I auditioned, she was supposed to be a fast-talking, naive girl from Texas. But there was one line in the audition that I read somewhat condescendingly while looking at the derriere of the girl beside me. And then when I got the part, they had rewritten the whole character to match that one line reading. So suddenly she was snobby and all about looks and clothes and boys.
Who are you trying to kid with these fancy boomerang buns?
That's a croissant, you peasant.
Well, one of my favorite ways to describe Blair Warner is actually from the show. Joe Polnicek is introducing Blair to some of her friends from the other side of the track. And she says, when you first meet Blair, you may think she is superficial and shallow, but once you get to know her, you realize that's actually the deep part. And so I think that's a great description of Blair. My all-time favorite episode of Facts of Life is where Jo handcuffs herself to Blair in protest until Blair agrees to read an editorial about the homeless situation in town in a college cable news station. And Blair just thinks that is so not newsworthy because she has an opportunity to interview the head cheerleader, so she refuses. And so Blair does the newscast with Jo handcuffed to her underneath the desk, and it's very slapstick, Ethel and Lucy kind of broad humor, and it was just one episode that encapsulated so much of the fun that I had on the show. Well, there were certainly lots of favorites. I would say that the episode where I got to kiss George Clooney would have been a favorite, except that I didn't even remember I had done that until years later, and somebody showed me a clip of it, and I thought, how in the world could I have forgotten that? But back then, he wasn't George Clooney. He was just George. It was fun having George Clooney on the show. He was very just fun, and it was nice to have some testosterone after 6 years at that point of estrogen, and he was like a big brother to everybody. I would say that the friendship between Blair and Jo and Natalie and Tootie was really a lot like sisters, because they did go to a boarding school, so although they had family, their schoolmates were their family, and especially those four, because they lived together and they worked together. So sisters, they had a lot of fun together, very, very close, fought, but then made up. I think I'm probably least like my character in real life. Most like probably Mindy, who played Natalie. I liked a lot about playing Blair. I don't like clothes or getting makeup and hair and all that, and so that was just a pain because she's all about that. But I did like playing Blair because growing up, I would never have been allowed to act like Blair. So to get paid to act like Blair, and it was okay, that was kind of fun. We all keep in touch very regularly. We have a group text that we're on, and anytime there's a birthday or a death or somebody does a show, we're all very supportive. So we follow each other on social media, but then we also have our own little private group text.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life.
I do hear the theme song quite a bit. I try not to initiate it, though, because it's the kind of thing that will show up in your head at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then people are just never happy about that. I think the show is still so beloved because it's just timeless. It's relationships, it's friendships, it's things that girls go through and as they're growing up. And no matter what generation you're in, you're going to be going through the same things and you're going to want the same kind of relationships. Where would Blair be now? Well, she would probably be very much where she was then. I don't know that Blair was on the growth track. I think she is still about money and reputation and shopping and eating lunches at fancy places.